You want me to put that on my todger?
Harry's wife, mute. I'm sure there's many of you who would very much relish the ability to mute Harry's wife, to shut her up, so that you're not subjected to her nonsensical word salad, her Frigglich Magnet platitudes, the beige tsunami of drivel that she spouts when she issues a speech. Those views are probably shared by many people. But interestingly, it is her uncharacteristic silence that has been seized upon in this next analysis. Courtesy of the Mail Online, Ephraim Hardcastle poses this observation. Acting quiet, Harry's wife remains uncharacteristically mute as her former fellow actors go on strike. Former soap star, the Duchess of Sussex, remains uncharacteristically mute, while her fellow striking lovies man the Hollywood picket lines. Harry's wife was once a proud member of the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, who are now downing scripts over pay and the use of AI. In her Oprah interview, she described union membership as something she sorely missed when turning royal, telling the palace's HR department, "I just really need help, because in my old job there was a union and they would protect me." SAG-AFTRA tweeted mid-interview, "We're still here for you, Harry's wife. Everyone deserves the protection of a union." Placard-wise, Harry's wife, couldn't Harry take dictation? However, of course, she remains completely silent. And Hardcastle observes this point. She piped up about missing the use of the union. The reason that she did so, of course, was to triangulate the palace's HR department with that union for the purposes of trying to cause other people to be sympathetic to her, namely, boo, big bad palace's HR department. Poor Harry's wife, she still feels that she needs the protection of her union because of the nasty way that they deal with her. But the point is that it's just another manipulation that's coming from the Duchess of Delusion, another attempt to cause people to respond in order to give her fuel and enable her to then assert control. But notice that despite occupying a position still of prominence, after all, she appears in the news in some shape or form every single day, there's nothing said with regard to the rights of those striking. Reason being, first of all, she has no emotional empathy. So there is nothing that compels her to think, well, the plight of these individuals is such that although it's an industry I'm no longer in, it is an industry that I once cared about and the people within it. And therefore, because I have a position of prominence, I am going to use that to bring attention to the issues in this situation and offer help where I can. Perhaps I'll even turn up and meet people on the picket line. But because she has no emotional empathy, it doesn't drive her to do that, hence it doesn't happen. But then even further, her narcissism doesn't drive her to do that, because remember, certain narcissists, those that are mid-range or greater, through the utilization of a facade, can appear caring and helpful and concerned, and might indeed make donations, do philanthropic work, turn up at a picket line. But her narcissism doesn't even decide that she should be involved. Essentially, with the issue of the actors' strike coming up on her radar, which it will do, her narcissism assesses it and determines, should we do anything about it? And the short answer is no. We don't need to assert control over other people by triangulating them with the existence of the strike. We don't need the fuel that would come from people responding to us making a pronouncement about the strike. We don't deem that there's anything to be gained by way of character traits or residual benefits. Therefore, her narcissism doesn't cause her to issue one of her bland statements. Where it does, in relation to, for instance, where there was the research about fathers recently, that was just done not because she cares, but born out of cognitive empathy, which utilises that issue for the pursuit of the prime aims. But here, a combination of the fact that she simply really does not care, and that her narcissism does not see that there's anything in it for her, you don't get her offering any support to those that are involved in an industry which she repeatedly makes reference to. Nary an article goes by without us being told that she was in Suits, that she was a Suits alum, and so forth. But of course, with Harry's wife, like any narcissist, it's one-way traffic. She takes, she needs to be given, she needs to be provided, and she will only offer assistance on a purely transactional basis if it suits the needs that she has. Accordingly, those that are striking, those that are seeking to better the position of those within the industry, might have thought that someone as prominent and famous, or infamous, as Harry's wife might come along and lend a hand. They're sorely disappointed, and she remains, as Hardcastle has pointed out, uncharacteristically mute. But what about the observations of other people? What did they think about her failure? KLF12987 explains she only jumps on a bandwagon if she doesn't actually have to put in work, and it's polarising and controversial. A strike is too boring. Well, it's certainly correct that she only jumps on a bandwagon if she doesn't really have to put much work in. As we've seen recently, she hijacks other people's reports because that's a very effective way of getting what she requires without having to do much. Lollipoppy adds she's never ever 41. Snowdog 88. It's better for everyone, including herself, that she keeps silent. Skyblue 108. She wants an acting gig, so less competition if everyone else is on strike. That might be accurate. And remember that if it's something that she can achieve by shitting on people and not saying them solidarity, she would do so, because her needs come first. Imogen. Hark, the golden sound of silence. Long may the mute button remain on. Kitty Katusa, picking up on the point that I've made. Why would anyone think she cares or has any empathy about anyone else? Haven't the past 5 odd years shown that? Disgusted 6-1, she can stay quiet. There is nothing she can say that I want to hear. Chicago Roxy, I wonder how all the celebrities who were at her wedding feel now. Wiser by the day, she no longer needs roles in the industry because she believes she's adapted her skills to operate within political and social circles. Solo words, she isn't an actress and doesn't produce or write her own material, so why would she be a part of it? Well, on the face of it, that would seem logical, but the fact is, if her narcissism deemed that it was appropriate for her to do so, she'd barge in, irrespective of the fact that she's no longer an actress and doesn't produce or write. That wouldn't matter, because she wouldn't actually recognise any of the boundaries. Once again, a demonstration of how Harry's wife picks and chooses with regard to what she gets involved in, and the reason for it? It's stringently driven by the selectiveness of her narcissism. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.